y'all doing today? How y'all doing today? Hey, this is a rally, not a memorial. How y'all doing today? No justice?
No peace.
No justice?
No peace.
No justice?
No peace.
No justice?
No peace.
I want to make sure that I clear something up, so that if anything, in any narrative that comes out, that the Next Generation Action Network does not respect the wishes of the Edwards family, I want to say that that is a lie. All right? But what I want to know is, I want to call out the cowards that have made it the obligation of the Edwards family to keep peace in the streets. And the only obligation that the Edwards family had was to lay their baby boy to rest. It is the responsibility of our elected officials to keep peace in the streets. And us coming out here united today is saying that we are tired of our children being shot and killed in the streets like they are wild animals. We come out here today just not because Jordan Edwards. We come out here today because there are hundreds of Jordan Edwards that have been shot and killed in the Dallas County for over ages and generations to come. That's why we come out here today. We come out here today because a young man by the name of Santos Rodriguez was shot and killed by Dallas Police Department in 1973. We come out here today because a young man named Jesus Cruz was shot and killed by a former branch police officer. So I want the news media to know that Jordan Edwards was no isolated incident. There are many Jordan Edwards, and I have traveled the country to see all the unsung people and all of the many people that's name is Jordan Edwards. I will not sit at home and stay silent while our children embark in coming into the summer. There are going to be many house parties. But now, many of us have to think about a house party, and we just got to think about the officers coming to the house party, killing our babies, pulling out rifles when they get a 911 call saying underage drinking. That let them know from the beginning that there was children there. From the beginning. But what this officer said, I don't care about calling the race, but what this officer said, I got black kids out here. And this officer pulled an assault rifle out of the trunk of his vehicle and shot in a car with 5 African American boys. That's a murder. But the Dallas County District Attorney has made it the obligation of the Edwards family to keep peace in the street. And I say right now, shame on you, Faith Johnson. Do your damn job and we won't be in the streets. We won't have nothing to protest if you do your job. If you prosecute an officer. When I met with the District Attorney, Faith Johnson, she asked us that we wanted to have confidence in her office, that she was going to do all the right things. And I reminded her, and she said that the community should have confidence in her. And I reminded her that under her tenure, they let an officer go free that killed Fred Bradford just 2 weeks ago, before Jordan Edwards was shot. So you're telling me that we should trust in you? No. Do your damn job. And until that paper gets a stamped indictment, we will not leave the streets until that paper is indicted by a grand jury. That's when you will get peace in the streets. The district attorney asked me, see, here's the problem. The district attorney asked the media outlet to ask me, what do you want? And I feel that there is a damn problem with that, because you shouldn't have to ask us what we want. We want justice. What have we been protesting across this country for? For justice. Why should you have to ask me through a media outlet, what do we want? We want justice. And we don't want no fine gestures only because you want our votes. We don't want it just because there's election time. We want fair justice. And what we have asked is the Dallas County District Attorney appoint a special prosecutor to investigate and prosecute not only the case of Jordan Edwards, but the case of Jesus Cruz.
Yeah.
This is not just about Jordan Edwards. Me and my brothers and sisters for the last couple of years have been protesting across this country and across the city of Dallas, not just because of one issue, because the many people that have been shot and killed by law enforcement in this country. When on July 7th, when we protested downtown, we didn't just protest because Alton Sterling and Philando Castile was shot and killed. We protest because of the many Alton Sterling and Philando Castilles across this country. So while the media try to come up with their narrative and feel that the Next Generation Action Network and the people that assembled here does not respect the wishes of the Edwards family, I say that that is a lie, and I push back it right now. We want, if any media wants to know what we want the officer who lied on a sworn statement for Roy Oliver charged as an accessory to this crime. Because if it was any one of us, we would be behind bars, maybe next to Roy Oliver. If you need to ask us, we need the federal government and the DA's office to investigate the Box Springs Police Department, because this is no isolated incident. And why did it take a couple of days for the chief of police to finally go and look at a dash cam video if he have already made a comment? Why didn't he look at all of the evidence before he made the comment? Before he damaged the name of Jordan Edwards, before he tried to put this false narrative about Jordan Edwards. He tried to call Jordan Edwards everything but a child of God, but the community united stand up and push back at that. And what I have gained to know is that the Edwards family, the mother and the father, is loving parents. And they raised their boy to be a respectable citizen, to be a leader, to be a scholar. And I sit here sad because Jordan Edwards will never be able to see his prom. Jordan Edwards will never be able to have children of his own. Jordan Edwards will never be able to go to college. Jordan Edwards will never be able to marry his queen. Jordan Edwards will never be able to go into the career of his desires, because that was all stolen from him. But as I go back home and I look at my two baby boys, I think about Jordan Edwards. When I look at all of the people that have these young boys, I see a Jordan Edwards. And I see these young boys right here. I see Jordan Edwards. I see Jesus Cruz, Tamir Rice, Tobias Mackey, Clinton Allen. I see all of these people that have been shot and killed by law enforcement in Dallas County. Enough is enough. And I tell people all the time is that in the community, we want to be reactive towards situations, and we need to be proactive in situations. If we would have stayed quiet, I know that we would have heard in 30 to 45 days a no bill coming from this big mountain behind here. Because guess what? We have saw it time and time again. Time and time again, no bills after no bills. Guess what? The district attorney charged all of the officers who dragged, who killed Freddie Gray. And a year and a half later, we saw all of them not guilty in these America. So I'm not going to be satisfied with the wave of a paper until that paper says guilty for what he done. And there will not be no peace in the streets until we see guilty for the murder of Jordan Edwards, until we see justice. So if you want to ask what we want justice. And until we see justice, there will be no peace in Dallas County. There will not be any peace in Dallas County. The Next Generation Action Network has never condoned violence in any kind of way. And as the leader of the Next Generation Action Network, I say this: I do not ask for any harm on any law enforcement. I fight for human life. Because I remember that at the end of the day, I remember the statement that the Ball Springs Police Department, the officer that was shot and killed, I remember his outcry days before he was shot, the African American officer. He said, when I go to work, they don't like me because of this badge. And when I go home, I'm faced with the reality that I'm an African American man. I felt that. So I want everybody to understand that we need to continue to advocate. We need to continue to call the district attorney's office, continue to call on the state and federal officials to investigate these crimes and to charge them appropriately. We want a guilty verdict. I want to bring someone, and I want to thank her for coming and lending her voice to this case. I want to bring up a lady that have traveled all across the country to bring a voice from the inside to us. That's from the person, her name is she's a former sergeant from the Los Angeles Police Department. Her name is Cheryl Ford Dorsey. Thank you.
Cheryl. Stop, Cheryl.
Hello, and I just want to say thank you to Dominique for allowing me to be here. And so I bring a very unique and different perspective to this. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what goes on internally and talk to you a little bit about the culture and help you understand why it's so important to be vigilant right now. Understand that this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. And unless and until you have a police chief who will admit that there's a problem, then there's nothing to fix. And understand that every police chief serves at the pleasure of the mayor. And so when you understand the symbiotic relationship that they have, you understand why it's so easy for a police chief to stand before us in a bank of cameras and try to convince us of something that we saw and tell us that we didn't see it because there was something that happened 5 or 10 minutes or seconds before that would have changed everything. And they want to say to you and to me that you guys don't understand because you don't know what it is to be a police officer and you've never worn that uniform. And so I'm here to stand in the gap for all of you because I know what it is to be a police officer. I'm a black woman first. I'm a mother second. I have 4 young black sons, and I'm that police sergeant third. And I spent 20 years, I'm honorably retired from Los Angeles Police Department. I was on that department between 1980 and 2000 when they didn't want anybody that looked like me. And I understand now why I went through the things that I went through so that I could stand here and credibly tell you the things that I'm telling you. Nobody can legitimately debate me about my lived experiences as a black woman. And so what I see and what I want is justice, but for me, justice means something else. Justice means accountability. Because unless and until police officers are held accountable for this outrageous and egregious activity, unless there's a consequence for the choice that they make, then there will never be anything done differently. Unless and until officers are held personally responsible, and that's going to take legislation to change, because at least where I come from, officers hide under what's called the Police Officers' Bill of Rights. And so when there is a settlement, and the department loves to throw millions of dollars at families, it's you guys who pay that. The officer doesn't suffer any consequence. And so police chiefs routinely and regularly coddle, minimize, and mitigate that bad behavior. They try to justify those things that are unjustifiable, unless and until see something like a video recording in the case of Walter Scott, where they could no longer deny that Michael Schlager pumped or where your police chief once he realized that that script wasn't going to work, then they were willing to go ahead and do that Pontius Pilate and arrest this officer for murder. But for me, what justice looks like is not a conviction. What justice looks like for me is a substantive charge, because we've seen a conviction. We saw a conviction in New York for Occupuy when that officer walked that stairwell and shot him because he was startled by a citizen being in a stairwell in an apartment building and was given probation. We saw a hung jury in the case of Walter Scott because somebody couldn't figure out if they really believed that firing 8 rounds in the back of somebody who's running is unjustified. What we have is a pattern of practice where officers are what I like to call drunk with power, and they just do what they do, and there's no real substantive consequence. And so what we need to do is we need to get involved actively. We need to be on those juries, so when they try to hang it, or when they try to minimize and mitigate that bad behavior, we're now part of this process. And listen, we dropped the ball back on November the 8th, and we have to suffer the consequence now, because we have a United States Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, who has no interest or appetite for pursuing civil rights investigations. And so understand that. But we still have to be vigilant, and I still call them out when I can, and I have no real great comfort that anything is going to change in my lifetime, but I speak on it anyway, because silence is agreement. And so I'm here to say those things that families don't know when they stand in front of a bank of cameras, because all they know is that they're hurting, they're grieving, they lost a child. And so I'm here to interpret that code talk, that double speak that police chiefs like to do. And know this, when you see a police chief that looks like me, for me personally, that brings me no comfort. Because I understand that most police chiefs that look like me don't get there speaking the way that I do. See, on my department, they don't promote people who are outspoken. So what I want to see is, I want to see some accountability. I want there to be substantive change. I want police departments to stop throwing buckets of money at families and do nothing to change the policy and the procedure. I want police chiefs to admit that they have some errant officers. By and large, I like to believe that most police officers are there to do the right thing, but there are some bad apples. And so when we identify those officers, then we need to get them out the field. There needs to be, for me, psychological evaluations on a regular basis, and I'll just say every 2 years. I think you ought to crack open an officer's head, and if you see something is wrong, then please help him to the profession that he is best suited for. Because everybody who wants to be the police should not be the police. And I believe that, this police chief has some culpability in the shooting of Jordan Edwards, because I read a report where it said that 2 weeks prior to this incident, Roy Oliver was involved in a traffic accident where he got out of the car and pulled his gun. And so I'm of the opinion that had that police chief done his job 2 weeks ago, and there was that officer 2 weeks ago, that baby might be here today. And so for me, that's what justice looks like. It looks like accountability. It looks like getting rid of officers who have no business there. It looks like admitting there's a problem when there's one, and let's work on that recruitment, because I don't believe for a minute that there aren't eligible black and brown folks out there who can police our communities. Because when a police officer looks into a car and sees a 4-year-old baby as in Alton Sterling, Philando Castile and fires rounds is because that officer can't relate. That officer didn't look in the back of that car and see that baby and think that could be my sister, that could be my daughter. And so it's very easy for an officer to do something like that, or to devalue us. When an officer stands and straddles someone, as in the case of Sterling Alton, and says, excuse my profanity, motherfucker, if you move again, I'll shoot you, and then make good on that promise, is because he doesn't look at that person and value him as a human being. And so we need to identify those officers, we need to be honest, and we need to help them get into a profession that's more suited for their temperament. I thank you so much.
You're watching ODTV live stream.
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Dallas, are you disgusted by what happened in Ball Springs?
Yeah.
Are you sick? Are you tired of seeing brown bodies killed in the streets by people who are supposed to protect the community? Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Did you vote? Let me tell you something. Dallas, I've been up here too many times. Too many times. And those of you who have seen me will probably say, she say the same thing every time.
For Jose Cruz.
You better believe it, because I'm going to say it until people hear me. I'm going to say it until people hear me. We come to these events. We want to speak up. We want to let our voices be heard. But yet we're silent at the polls. Dallas, only 4% showed up to vote. I'm disappointed. Because if you're tired of seeing black and brown bodies killed in the street, you have got to get out and get involved. You've got to get out. It takes more than just coming here and making your voice heard and expressing your sentiment about what just happened, about the next death, about the last death. It takes more than that. It takes more than just marching down the street. You've got to make yourself a part of the process. And that starts, everything that everybody is feeling. People come to these rallies and they're all hype and they're all either angry or upset or hurt or whatever that emotion is. Everybody comes and they're so full of emotion. And I tell people, let your exasperation be your motivation. Get out and get involved in the process. Take that emotion to the polls. Take that emotion to the jury room. Please, people, I'm an attorney, and I see far too often where there are no people that look like you and me in the jury box. Let me tell you, folks, it makes a difference. It makes a difference, okay? You need to get out and get involved. Because if you're tired of seeing black and brown bodies killed in the streets, then you vote for your prosecutors. You vote for your city council. These are the people. Vote for your mayor. These are the people who put the police chiefs in place, who train the officers, who kill the babies, okay? So you've got to get out and vote. You've got to get out and be a part of the process. You've got to make your voice heard, not just out here, not just on Facebook, not just on Twitter. You've got to get out and involve yourself. We can change this, but we've got to be engaged. We've got to stay involved. People leave here and the emotions die down and we go back to our normal lives until the next day. Then we out here again, and the same cycle repeats itself. People, it's time for a change. It is time for a change, and the time is now. Not another dead boy, okay? Not one more. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
People, please get out. When you get the jury paper in the mail, I know it's not cool. I know it doesn't pay anything.
I know it may be boring to some of you. Please don't throw it away. Please get involved. You never know what trial you're being selected for. Get involved, because people in the jury room, they don't hear our story. If there is nobody in there that looks like you or me, they can't share our experience. Because the young boy that was running away from the cop, you never know, he very well may have been afraid himself. See, people make certain assumptions. Oh, he was running because he must have did something wrong. No. If someone that looks like you or me are in there, you can explain, no, this is how it works with us. I'm running because I'm trying not to get killed. Okay, so it makes a difference. You've got to, and I can't stress enough how important it is to get involved in the process. And until we all collectively demand accountability, this is not going to stop. So we've got to put people in place who will hold these officers accountable, who will hold these law enforcement officials accountable for their conduct. So please get out and vote. Until there is accountability, there is no responsibility. There's no incentive to do right, because who's going to check them? I mean, who's going to police the police? Nobody's doing it. So collectively, let your voice be heard. Get out. Use that energy. Use your exasperation. Let that be your motivation, and let your vote be your weapon.
Next, I'll bring it to you, Jara and Michael.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys this evening? Good. Okay, so what I wanted to present to you, this is the grandmother of Jose Cruz, and they're here. Their sign says, "We want justice for Jose Cruz." And so basically, she's going to tell you guys how she feels and why they're demanding justice for Jose Cruz in Spanish, and I'm going to do the best I can to translate. So bear with me, okay?
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Norma Ochoa, soy la abuela de José Cruz. Estoy aquí porque quiero justicia por mi nieto.
Okay, she says, "Hi, I'm the grandmother of Jose Cruz. I am here because I want justice for my son," for her grandson.
Yo quiero, por favor, que me apoyen. Pido a las autoridades competentes, por favor, que ese asesino esté en la cárcel ya.
She said that she's demanding, she needs your help to support her and to go to the authorities and demand the maximum punishment for this guy who killed her son.
No queremos que aquí en Dallas ni en ningún lugar hayan esa clase de policías, asesinos, andan matando niños, niños que son incapaces de defenderse, como me mató a Josecito, este asesino.
She says it's an outrage. We don't want police here who are killing innocent innocent human beings. We do not want that at all.
Él no sabe el daño que nos ha hecho a nosotros, mi hija, mis nietos. Tenemos un niño especial que Josecito me ayudaba a cuidar, y por este asesino ya no nos ayuda.
She said you guys can imagine the pain and the hurt that they feel, that they're going through for their grandson, that the mother feels, that his sisters feel, that all of his family feels. It's a shame, and it really hurts.
Solo Dios sabe el sufrimiento que hemos tenido con la pérdida de Josecito por culpa de un policía.
Only God knows the pain and the suffering that we're feeling for this police officer who killed a little boy for no reason.
No voy a descansar hasta ver a este asesino en la cárcel.
We are not going to relax. We will not relax. We are not going to relax until we see this guy in jail.
ese asesino y todos los que andan matando niños, como lo que le pasó al niño, al otro ahorita. Queremos que estén tras las rejas.
She said that we want to see that all of the police officers who are killing the boys, who just like the boy they killed, referring to Jordan Edwards, we want to see the same punishment for all of them.
Yo le doy gracias a Dios porque ahorita me tiene de pie a mí, a mis hijos, a mi esposo, porque por culpa de un policía estamos sufriendo nosotros.
Because of the fault of the police officer, nobody can imagine the pain that I'm suffering, that her husband is suffering, that all of her family is suffering, that the mother is suffering at the fault of that officer.
Yo quiero que cuando le den trabajo a un policía excitado, capacitado a cuidar la ciudadanía, no a matar niños, a matar inocentes.
A police officer, when they're doing their job isn't to kill innocent beings. They need to do their job. They need to make sure that what they are doing.
Yo le doy gracias a Dios por tener estas personas, a los coordinadores, al pastor, a todos. Le doy gracias a Dios porque hay personas que el alma nos vuelve para atrás porque están con nosotros, a los que hemos perdido a un hijo.
She said that she wants to thank God because there are people like all of you guys who are here today that are with them, that understand that loss that they are suffering. She wants to thank God and all of you guys for being with her.
Bueno, le doy gracias a Dios porque yo estoy, como les digo, de pie, pero pidiéndole siempre a las autoridades que a este asesino de mi hijo no lo quiero tomar. ¿Cuánto le faltaba a mi hijo? Tenía 16 años, mi hijo no, ese asesino de policía. Tengo, como le digo, el dolor con ese policía, no con todos, con ese policía, pero le pido a las autoridades que pongan responsables.
She said that she is asking the authorities to put in police who are responsible. Her grandson was, ¿tiene 16 or 10? He was 16 years old when he was shot and killed. She's begging you guys and pleading with you guys to ask the authorities to put somebody who's going to be responsible, who's going to do their job and knows what they're doing so that this won't happen.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias le doy a todos y que Dios me lo bendiga a todos, a cada uno de todos ustedes. Gracias por darme esta oportunidad de hablar aquí. Muchísimas gracias.
She just says she wants to thank all of you guys for being with her and for giving her this opportunity to come and share how she expresses and on behalf of her family as well. Thank you guys so much.
We are one. 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 We are one.
You are correct. We are one. And if you look at this plaza right now, this is what peace looks like. Look at what we have here. This is what America is afraid of. Us standing up for one another. We have different races, religions, genders, all here for the same purpose. I'm Dominique Torres. I'm an activist first and an attorney second. And when I come to this courthouse and I work and I practice, I know that justice is blind. But I know that it's blind for two reasons. Justice is supposed to be blind because it's supposed to be impartial, it's supposed to be objective. But I know that for black and brown people, it is blind to our struggles. It is blind to who we are. And I am tired. I I am tired of having to stand and talk in front of people about the injustices that are done to our people every single day. But I am encouraged when I see people who are standing up here and understand that justice needs to be served properly. That we need people who are going to step up and say, we are going to shut this white supremacist system down. The only way that it gets done is if we are active. And this is a first start, but it is not the only start. When I was in law school, I was taught by my criminal justice teacher that a grand jury would indict a bologna sandwich. Don't you know that we have had numerous police officers who have murdered young black and brown men who have not been indicted? But a bologna sandwich would get indicted. I'm tired of that. So we have to step up. Like we stepped out today, we are speaking for hundreds of people who cannot be here today. I'm biracial. I have a brother who is African American. I have two brothers who are Mexican. So every day that they go out, I'm afraid if they're going to come back home. And now with SB4, I'm afraid for my Hispanic brothers because they may be stopped and asked whether or not they're citizens. My African American brother, I know every time that he steps out, he might be a target. I'm tired of it. So to echo everything that has been said here today, we have to step up. And that means when we face discrimination at our job, we step up. When we face discrimination at a store, we step up. Because those people train people and are the parents of people who continue this racism that we have to see and live under. So anytime that you are faced with any type of adversity, step up. Know that you have a team behind you. I am lucky I have been a part of the Next Generation Action Network for 3 years now. This is my team. You have a team behind you. Step up. That's what I need my people to do. Step up. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. How many times are we going to meet and discuss these same issues that the black man and woman has been experiencing in this country, and all Aboriginal people who have been experiencing in this country since we set our foot in this country? That when someone is running away, it's shot in the back. When someone is trying to do the right thing, they receive no justice. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan wrote a letter to the Nation of Islam in 1960 and said, in the future, how we will get you is in the police department, is in the grand jury, is in your employers. To continue this cycle of injustice, when are we going to pool our resources? As a religious person who believes in humanity, whenever Allah elevated a man to be a prophet or a messenger among us, and he spoke to the oppressed people, it was for separation. It was to come out of that environment. Integrating and trying to integrate into a system, we should continue to try that, because we fought for those rights. But the end result is going to be separation. In the book of Revelation, there's a mystery Babylon that is treating the people unfair for over 400 years. Are y'all hearing me? Those same people have to be led out, and they are being led out, slowly but surely. As this police brutality continues, and it will continue, as we try to hold these people accountable, and we will continue to try to hold them accountable, we are going to have to unify. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says that our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. If you did not know, America is for sale. If you did not know, those who are in our community spend trillions of dollars to hold up what we call a justice system. If you did not know, if they get tired of hearing from some of them, they will pull their cars because they have to be licensed by the same people who you saying that you're going up against. This is a systematic system. This is a system that is against the indigenous population of the earth. In the Bible, Paul says that we are dealing with wickedness, spiritual wickedness in high places. We are dealing with spiritual wickedness in high places. So if that wickedness is in high places, how do you satisfy that wickedness? How do you turn that wickedness? When everyone who spoke out against the injustice during that wickedness in the historical context was killed. You kill the leader and the sheep will scatter. And that will continue to happen until we understand that unity is our only solution. We must pull out of her, as it says, come out of Mystery Babylon. Come out of the thinking, start buying land, build our own schools, patrol our own neighborhoods. Have we become cowards to the system? We have. Because we're not even following the Bill of Rights. We're not even following the Constitution that says that if we are dissatisfied with the government, that we are allowed to set up militias and change the government. Read every single letter that they put in front of you. This is nothing new to us in the black community. This has been happening to us throughout the time in our historical context. So when are we going to get it? When are we going to become real men and stand up for what we really believe in, what we know that we have to do? You can prolong it another generation, but one generation is going to do it. One generation will be like Joshua and take the land. One generation will be like Moses and lead the children out. One generation will be like Jesus and go to the cross for what he believes in. Where are those generation of people? Where are we at? Because talking is not going to do it until we actually start mobilizing and doing what we're talking about. South Dallas is for sale. Why haven't we pulled our resources together where the land is cheap and started a grocery store? There are empty buildings in South Dallas. Why don't we start doing our own schools? Why haven't we started re-educating? Because that's what's going to happen. We complain about everything that they do, but the only solution is to continue to complain. Our elected officials know how high they can go. Our police officers, our judges, our lawyers know how high they can go. Because the people have to mobilize in order to make change. Change has not come to a people who have begged the oppressor for forgiveness. Change comes when the people mobilize and change the oppression. We are being led by an oligarchy of people who have us all fighting amongst each other in classism and racism. And we don't see it. We are the most educated people in society today, but we don't see it. Because we still do the same thing, which means partially that we are insane. Partially it's because it's the drugs that they're giving us. Partially it's because of the food that we eat to keep us docile. Partially it's because the majority of our men are starting to grow up with autism so they won't have anybody to fight against. But you don't see it. You don't see it. It's a slow form of suicide coming amidst all of us. Genocide. The sister has up a sign that says whoever kills one person, as it says in the Holy Quran, is as if they have killed humanity. Well, we're on a death march, family, because we're not recognizing who's doing the killing. We're not recognizing who's doing the killing, and we're not listening to the messengers with the solution in our midst. We're listening to the same people who got the same contents of the people of old, as the Holy Quran says. Those of old speak the same language. They're going to continue to use the same language to keep us confused, discombobulated, and we will never unify. And we'll slaughter each other in the streets. But as soon as somebody of the other color kills one of us, we rally in the streets. But then there was 4 more killings in South Dallas the other day. Where are we at? Where are the preachers at? Where are we at? Where are the religious people at? Where are we at? Where are the righteous at? Because when the righteous stand up, then we'll change this overnight. We won't have to wait till another child gets killed in the street and another mother has to bury her child. That's insanity, family. That's insanity that we continue to watch this. This is how they radicalize all the other groups around the world. By killing off their leaders until one stands up and then they have to fight. And then they put it on the news and put it in the name of a religion. When it's really all about survival and humanity. Because they want to fight. If you don't understand, we are being held to the water, family. Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us, and I'm going to leave on this note. that our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. And he also says that if we don't receive justice, what is the or else? What is God's judgment? How does God judge a land? Are we paying attention that the dollar is falling? Are we really looking at how the weather is changing? Are we paying attention to the historical context of how God or Allah has killed off civilizations in the past? And we're living in the days of judgment of that last superpower. Do you really think that Al-Qaeda is going to come over here and destroy the United States? Do you really believe that? No one will destroy the United States but Allah. And you will witness it, live and in color. God will destroy the United States for the injustice that it's doing to its people. There will not be a foreign government that comes over here that can touch this land. The United States is too powerful for that. If it happens, it's because they allowed it to pass some laws, to pass legislation. You don't believe that, but you don't understand the mind of Satan. They've been doing it all throughout time. And you got the internet, and you got these smartphones, but you ain't smart. We have to mobilize, quick, fast, in a hurry. And all of Pharaoh's magicians who run with these people, who try to keep you docile when things happen, look at them again. Look at what they're doing. Ask the right questions when you go to the polls. Talk to them. Film them. You got these phones. Watch them. And you'll see who they really work for. They're doing it for the dollar. But when the dollar falls, and then they run back to you, then let's see what's going to happen. Because it's going to happen. So I'll leave you as I came before you in the greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum.
What's your name?
Al-Shahid Muhammad of the Nation of Islam, Muhammad Mosque number 48, South Dallas.
Thank you.
We now have a poet to come to us in the person of Jasmine Thompson. Jasmine, give us some love, give us some love, give us some love.
Tell us about it, sister.
Their white hoods turn into badges, and nooses into guns. Tick-tock, gunshot, execution style right into my heart. Whippings into bullets, piercing my backside, pop, pop, pop. Their gunpowder red, white, and blue, sitting around me, mocking and taunting me with this false philosophy. As their flag landed on my neck like deathly fingers choking me as breath. There is no sense for the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for the black Negro in America. But here we are again, the children of Israel, waiting to be set out of bondage. I pose a question to all of you. Are we still in slavery, or are we free? And if we are still in slavery, is Jordan Edwards now free? Sandra Bland, Rika Boyd, Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, Freddie Gray, Mike Brown, Tamir Grant, Corinne Gaines, Jason Harrison, and Eric Gardner. Too, free from the lumps in their throats, hiding their invisible tears of another black and sisters like cattle in the streets. Controlling the black rage that festers in all of us, free from the targets that's on master's last name. No longer fiddling their thumb, waiting for their kin to make it home. Nor more feeling the sickness in their stomachs getting pulled over by the cops, nor looking down the barrel of their guns and pleading them for them to not shoot. Debating why our lives matters too. But the audacity to tell us to be quiet, to be silent, and to the nerve to ask why we protest and march, block highways and lift our voices with chants stating Black Lives Matter. Asking to be peaceful and stay on the sidewalks when we are the ones with our blood shed across the nation. The very descendants of slaves who built this country from ground up, sun up to sundown. Raped, murdered, lynched,
breeded, branded, castrated, separating families and our babies and taking our culture and land? How many more breaths should be taken? How many more black babies should be stopped in our malls? How many should be stopped and frisked for our lives to remotely matter than to get over it? But here's my thing. I shouldn't have to tell my unborn children that aren't even conceived yet to be silent. I will not decorate my pain for you. I will not.
Will not be silent.
I will not decorate my pain for you. I won't be silent. Because you can't build your white guilt. Our pain is not painted with strokes of a rainbow like our culture. It won't be discarded like Miley Cyrus after exploiting and appropriating our culture. Then bashing it as if she didn't profit from it. Excuse me if my words don't fit your narrative. I don't answer to you. I'm sorry if my blackness offends you. My Nubian ebony darks melanated skin. But my haughtiness speaks affirmations that I am God and Queen. That the walk of the black man makes you feel inferior. Feeling the need to lock them up by the thousands. Like they're animals on petty offenses. So you feel like you're playing judge, jury, and an executioner. Fuck you, I will not be put to rest. I will not be bought with your false ideas of freedom for this space. Don't be confused when I come running for your embassy. Built on our backs, and I will dismantle it. There is no weak speech. My body is an act of rebellion. I got a rebel in me, and y'all testing me. My youth, if this is our last words, call onto our ancestors to lead our way. No more hands up, don't shoot, but fist up and fight back. Go and fight if you have to with your hands or your mind, as I do with my speech. Don't let their hands cover your mouth as tears stain your cheeks. We've been silent for too long. Don't be afraid of the law, but know the law. Stand with your head high as no one can touch you. Be the force that shouldn't be reckoned with. Don't let them be the demons that hides in the corners of your homes, leaving ghosts in your dinner tables and in your schools. Don't be passive and let them pass with our blood on their hands, knowing there will be no peace if there is no justice. If their reform should not be enough. Create a new system that is fair and just, that forces them to play our games, ending white supremacy. Live and breathe. Be black, young, and free.
Next we have Albany Haynes from Friendship West Baptist Church. Give us some love as she comes.
Hello, I wasn't prepared to speak, but I will be standing in for my father right now. We can't be complacent. We can't be still. We can't be silent. We can't afford to be ignorant. We must fight. We must educate ourselves. We must advocate for a restructuring of police training and policing in what Maya Angelou called these yet-to-be United States of America. We can't have another black young man or woman turn into another hashtag. We can't continue to see our people shot down in cold blood on YouTube or CNN. We must vote. There is no reason that we should have a low voter turnout in this trumped-up world. Right. This is not just a matter of bad versus good cops. This is a system rooted in the slave patrols in the 19th century. This is a system that was never meant to serve us. A system where black persons make up 12 to 13% of the U.S. population, but over 40% of our prisons. This is a system wired to view minorities, especially black and brown people, as dangerous and inhumane. I stand with my father, Dr. Frederick D. Haynes III, who strongly believes that we must have a restructuring of police training and that officers must be held accountable when lying on their police reports about these unjust and uncalled for shootings and should be charged with the equivalency of perjury. So I must say to every American out there and more, to Jeff Sessions, our police, the alt-right, and most importantly, President Trump. America won't be great until black persons are no longer looked at and treated as 3/5 of a human being. Republicans, if you are pro-life, then be pro-life when it comes to black and brown bodies being slain in these streets. America won't be great until America confesses its sins and reaches liberty and justice for all, and not just liberty and justice for whites.
My name is Jarvis Wright, and I'm a part of the Dallas Action Coalition here in Dallas. First of all, I'd like to issue apologies to the Edwards family. Send our condolences to the Edwards families in their time of loss. On behalf of Dallas Action Coalition, Pastor Jahawa of Kingdom Worship and Restoration, and the Urban Specialist Chapter of Dallas. I also like to thank Dominique Alexander and NJN for putting this protest and rally together. And most of all, I'd like to thank everybody who took time out there and busy schedules to come out, because we need this type of support. So, unfortunately, we're brought here together once again due to the untimely death of a young black teen. We saw this far too often, and our plea is still the same. We want justice, we want results, we want justice, we want fairness, we want equality. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. It seems like it stays the same. So they say, how do we fix it? Let's create a better dialogue between law enforcement and the community. Well, first of all, you have to gain the community's trust again. So here we have Officer Oliver Roy. This man tells a bold-faced lie to justify his erroneous actions. He tells this lie, then his partner, who was also present during the incident, he co-signs the lie. But yet you want the community to trust you. How can we trust you? How can you restore trust with law enforcement, between the community and law enforcement, when you continue to lie to us? If you want to gain our trust back again, if you want us to trust and believe in law enforcement again, we don't need dialogue. We've been talking. We've been talking for too long. What we need is swift action, immediate action. We need to see some repercussions immediately, because the moment that bullet went into Jordan Edwards' head, unfortunately, he was dead. The Edwards family lost their child immediately. So we need some swift, immediate repercussions just like that. That's right. I propose that any officer involved shooting that results in the death of an unarmed individual, that officer needs to be suspended without pay indefinitely. Immediately. Because we all know that if you want to get anybody's attention, what do? You affect his livelihood. Hit his pockets. I guarantee if you hit his pockets, if you hit their pockets, they won't be so quick to pull that trigger. So everybody asked the question, the million-dollar question: why did he shoot in that vehicle? Of all the police officers that was present that night, what did he see that the other ones didn't see that made him shoot in that vehicle? Of all the other police officers that was present that night, why was he the only one parading around with a rifle? Under a cloud of a noise level complaint, why was he parading around with a rifle? Why did his co-workers, the other police officers, allow him to parade around with a rifle? Why did he shoot in that car like that at those young black boys? I'm going to tell you why. Because he saw something he didn't like. Simple as that. Can't put it no other way. You can't explain it. You can't explain it. The only reason why the chief of police, after suspending him, putting him on administrative paid leave, the only reason why he turned around and came back and terminated him at once he saw that camera footage, is because he knew that myself and my comrades here in Dallas would be in Box Springs shortly thereafter. And we would not be coming for tea. We will be coming for justice. We will be coming for justice. And we will continue to do so every time this happens. Every time this happens. I understand there are some people who have the audacity to speak out against protest, against rally, against peaceful demonstration. How dare you? How dare you? When your ancestors sacrificed their lives in order for you to stand right here. How dare you slap them in their face like that, spit in their face like that? How dare you? If they had marched time and time again, you wouldn't be able to stand here right now. They marched so we can stand. How dare you sit here and fix your mouth to think that protests are in vain, that they don't work, they're not effective. What if they have stopped marching? Think about that. What if they stopped marching? We were enslaved for nearly 500 years. Not 30 days, not a month, not a year, 500 years. Our people marched and marched and marched, got hosed down, got sick by dogs, got beat with batons, but they never gave up. Not one time did they say, let's stop marching. You know what they did? They marched again. They marched again. They marched again. And when I get discouraged, because I do get discouraged, I'm tired of seeing brothers that look like me on the pavement. A young 15-year-old black boy lost his life simply he was the wrong color. You may not want to acknowledge it, but that's the fact of the matter. He was the wrong color. That's why he lost his life. I have a 7-year-old son. And he told me, Daddy, I want to be a police officer. When I tell you, I argued my son down and told him, no, you will not. No, you will not. Then I sat and I explained to my son, because I came outside one day and they was playing out there and they had him as a police. And he had handcuffs. And he went to arrest one of his little friends. And the way he handled him, I'm talking about just sent my mind spinning. So I immediately grabbed my son and I chastised him. But he didn't know why I done it. But I turned around and I came back and I explained to him, let me tell you something, son. Just because he's the police don't mean he's right. You have good cops and you have bad cops. Unfortunately, these days, you have to be able to determine a good cop from a bad cop. And a good cop ain't somebody that just give out bikes. A good cop ain't somebody that just feed the homeless. No. A good cop is somebody who is prepared to stand in the face of his brother and call him out and say, you're wrong. You will not stand on the side of me behaving like that. Our former chief of police, Chief Brown, made a statement last year and aimed it to the protesters here in Dallas and said, why don't you stop all the protests, get out the protest line and come down here and get in the line and sign up to be a police officer. How dare you disrespect us like that? How dare you disrespect us like that? You think we're out here for fun? You think we're out here for fun? Protesters are losing their lives. Protesters are being assaulted, wrongfully jailed. You think we're out here for show? We're out here because we have no choice. We have no choice. And I say to Chief Brown, and I say to the new Chief of Police, and I say to anybody else who airs the same sentiments as Chief Brown. When you make law enforcement, when you make being a police officer a noble profession again, an honorable profession again, then you'll sign up. Until then, you find us in these streets, demanding justice, fighting for justice. What you would not do is you would not disrespect our effort. You would not disrespect our work. You would not do it. I would not allow you to disrespect the work of my ancestors, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be standing here. So I owe them my life. I owe Jordan Edwards my life. I owe Philando Castile my life. I owe Clinton Allen my life. I owe Jose Cruz my life. Bertrand Davis, Tamir Rice, Ruben Garcia, James Harper, Sandra Bland. I owe all of them my life while I have breath in my life. So what I'm going to do, along with my comrades up here on the stage, I'm going to continue to march, protest, be confrontational, agitate through civil disobedience. I'm going to continue to pursue justice for everybody that looks like me and anybody that doesn't look like me, because we are better together. We will pursue a charge and conviction for Oliver Roy, and we will bring charges against that police officer that sat there and signed that statement knowing it was a lie. We want him charged as well. And I'm going to leave you with this right here. We've got nothing to lose but our train.
So Lincoln Green, congratulating Jarvis. Right, for his move.
No justice?
No peace.
No justice?
No peace.
We're glad to have everybody out here today fired up for justice. I'm Rashida from NJN, and I want to remind everybody that this coming Saturday, on the 27th, we're having another rally for Tavis Crane at the Arlington Police Department, so we would like to see all of you there as well. Thank you.
Yeah. We'll be there. All right, I think that's it for, this is ODTV live stream. Oh no, we're going to hear from the Reverend from Cathedral of Hope. I forgot his name.
Good evening.
He's going to tell us.
I feel like I'm on that last leg of a marathon. I'm thankful for all of my friends who have spoken tonight. I'm thankful for you for coming out tonight, and I'm going to bless you by keeping this short. Enough is enough, right? Enough is enough. Well, there's certainly people in our city and in our region who don't feel like enough is enough. They just want to keep on rolling like it is. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man. He'd been begging his mother to go to a party. She finally relented. He took a shower, probably bathed 3 times because he was excited about this party. Might have been the girls there, I don't know. Then he sprayed a little bit of cologne before he jumped in the car. Brothers and friends were in the car. And he goes to the party. Well, everybody's dancing and they're having a real good time. But all of a sudden, they see the blue lights. Well, as the blue lights start rolling, they began to run, and they jumped in their car. Well, all of a sudden they got stopped. They got brought out of the car. The police officer called their mama and daddy and took them home. And by the way, this happened in Highland Park. And let me tell you something. those types of incidences are happening all over our country. And the reason these kind of slap on the wrist incidences are happening is because of racism, because of oppression, because of injustice. I am a Christian minister, and as far as I'm concerned, the people to blame are the people who inhabit all of these churches in white areas of town. As far as I'm concerned, they don't know anything about Jesus.
Bring it.
If they did, they would be out here with us tonight.
Right.
You see, after Jordan Edwards was murdered, I had a pastor friend of mine call me, pastor of a very large church. And he said, Jeff, I know you're going to be out in the streets. I know you're going to be doing interviews. I know that you are not going to be quiet until there's justice. And I want you to know, I'm praying for you. I said, don't pray for me. I said, get off your ass and walk with me and Jesus. You know, pastors always like to give an altar call. Well, as far as I'm concerned, this is our altar. Softly and tenderly, Jesus is calling. Calling for you to get your ass out of your church.
Yeah.
You to get your ass out of your church. One more time. You to get your ass out of your church.
Preach it.
You see, these are the same preachers. I mean, I don't know if y'all remember, but when I said goddamn white America, oh, I heard about that for a long, still hearing about it. But you know, these are the folks, they won't say goddamn white America, God get rid of white America. God release us from the bondage that is a white-dominated America. But they'll tell you, hey everybody, we'll pray for you. I'm going to end it with this. I pray that Jesus will get up under these pews of these churches. And I don't want any hearts set on fire. I want to see some asses set on fire so they'll get out in the street. Amen.
Well, there's no more to say. So we're going to pray, and we're going to believe that some asses is going to be set on fire.
Yeah.
And wow. Tomorrow at the Life Church, we're going to have a discussion and engaging the reality of the intersection of justice and Jesus, and knowing that the Bible does command us to stand for justice and do what's right. So we're going to invite you out for that tomorrow at the Life Church. We're on Facebook, the Life Church CFC. And please join us for a discussion about real talk, about real issues in real life, and to include injustice right here in America. And to know that the Lord does care about what happens to his people. And we must be able to be a voice for those who are voiceless, those who are the least lost and locked out. And to bring change in a world that needs it badly. So now, all has been said, we've spoken, we've been energized, inspired. Let's pray and leave here knowing that we can make a difference. Let's pray. Father, we thank you right now, God, for you being amazing. We thank you that you are a God of justice, a God of change, a God of transformation. Now allow us to leave here knowing that we can make a difference and stand on your word, knowing that you do care about those who are oppressed. You do care about those who need change. You do care about those who are the least and lost and locked out and left out. Lord, allow us to have the courage to trust your word, to not only believe that you are God, believe what your word says, and to make a difference. We love you, we praise you, we thank you. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen. Peace.
All right, that's it for our ODTV live stream. We got to get out of Dodge pretty quick. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at the next protest.